can we put this in layman's terms? Because we can go on about a lack of police officers, we can go on about a lack of intel and all this. You're an ex-copper. He should never, ever, ever be allowed out, should he?
I completely agree. I mean, back in about 1965, the death penalty was commuted to life imprisonment. The British people were told that anyone committed of a murder would serve life in prison. Well, I think the average sentence now is about 14, possibly 15 years, which equates to probably 1/5 of an average male or female's life. So the sentences are an absolute disgrace. This character will probably get in the region of 33 to 35 years.
And will he serve it all? Will that, because he's murdered, do they serve the whole thing? What are the facts, Norm?
Yeah, what happens is, if you're convicted of a murder, you will be given a tariff, and the tariff is the minimum term you will serve. So, for example, if you stab somebody to death and you get a 25-year tariff, you will serve the entire 25 years. If you're likely to be released, they normally start preparing you for release 3 years prior to that, which means you go to an open prison or a less severe prison. You then have work release days ready for release. So the point is, you will serve the full time of your tariff. That's why a lot of those that have murdered somebody like to try and get off with manslaughter, which means that the sentence will be far less, because very rarely is a tariff put in place for manslaughter, but it certainly is for murder.
Norman, I find myself... It's difficult. I find myself being accused by people of going on about things. I started J.K. Laird last night with the story of Olivia Pratt-Korbel, which shocked the nation. 15 years, I think, almost to the day that Rhys Jones, of course, was murdered in Liverpool in the same city. This isn't about individual cities. I want to make this point. It does my head in, right, that this, in apparently the fifth most important and successful country in the world, that this sort of thing can happen. And this isn't just a one-off incident. These horrors happen, and they happen because we do not have enough police on the streets gaining the intel on criminals to make sure that scum like Cashman don't walk the streets. And we can sit here and we can talk about how successive governments have cut back police, and there's a lack of really quality people coming through the recruitment process, no Hendon, all those sorts of things. But you would understand, wouldn't you, Norman, right, with everything you read about the Met Police and all the stuff about Cousins and whatever, that the police's confidence, well, the public's confidence in the police is not at all high, and it's not going to get any better. How in the name of God, Norman Brennan, do we deal with this? Because it's, I don't know, it just doesn't say anything at all about the United Kingdom, does it?
Well, recent survey says that 2/3 of the British public have confidence in the police.
I don't believe that survey, sorry. You're going to hate me for saying that. I love the police. I think men and women do an amazing job, but there are so many own goals. I can't believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, that was in The Guardian or The Independent yesterday.
Well, I wouldn't believe it if it was in The Guardian, obviously, yeah.
They're not exactly the lovers of police.
No.
But the public confidence in police was lost about 12, 15 years ago, and it was just after Theresa May crippled British policing.
Yeah.
If you want to know when British police lost the streets, it was after Theresa May crippled the police by actually taking away 22,000 frontline officers and tens of thousands of backroom staff. So the police were doing more with less. The public never saw the police. They didn't get the quality of service they did when I was in the job. Yeah. If you phoned the police, we would be there. Maybe not immediately, but certainly 999 calls we were.
No, it's all about filling out a computerised form and ticking. Somebody said to me, I've told this story many times, their dad was a copper who walked the beat for 30 years. You know, if an old lady got burgled, you'd go round to her house, you'd sit there, you'd change the lot, you'd have cups of tea. Now, you might give her a call or send her an email, tick 3 boxes and you move on. It doesn't happen like it did, which is why scum like Cashman can get away with it, right?
The thing is, Jeremy, I have been in policing, as I keep on telling the country, and law and order for 43 years. We hear about a crackdown on murder. It rarely happens. Knife crime, it rarely happens. Gun crime, it rarely happens. Antisocial behaviour is dressed up in all sorts of clothing just to suit the narrative and the headlines of the day. The next day, it's all gone. the government or the criminal justice system deal with other things. Policing is broken. The criminal justice system is broken. People carry guns, people carry knives without very little fear. They will have no fear of shooting one of my colleagues, just as like they did with 9-year-old Olivia. Only yesterday, I get posted all the murders, Jeremy, around the country. 10 people so far have been charged with one murder up in the Midlands. 10 people. And there's another 3 or 4 in custody that will possibly... And most of those are children. They're teenagers. What the hell has happened to Britain where we have teenagers and children killing children? Parents, instead of planning bright futures for their children, are planning funerals. And all we hear is the government promising this, the criminal justice system promising that. Policing is broken. I'm telling you this. I am a lead campaigner on it. I wouldn't be saying this if I truly, with hand on my heart, didn't believe that we have a crisis in Britain that we have never seen on law and order.
What's the answer, Norm? What's the answer? How do we turn it round?
20,000 more police officers on the streets. We flood the streets with police officers. We interact with the public. We talk to shopkeepers. We attend every call. We sit down with a victim. We take a statement. We do like we used to do. We give them crime prevention. We don't rush to the next job because we've got another number of officers doing that.
And what about stronger sentencing, for Christ's sake? That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Well, it is. We opened this discussion with the average life sentence in Britain, about 15 years. The sentences are often as disgraceful as the crime.
Completely
the sentence for assault on a police officer is normally a slap on the wrist, a small fine, a community order. Carrying a knife if you're a child, sometimes you'll get a second chance. A second chance, that second chance may take the life of another child. What do you say to the parent then when the police say, I'm sorry, the criminal justice system told us just to tell them they shouldn't be doing it? If you carry a gun on the streets of Britain, you get 5 years mandatory sentence. You're more likely to be stabbed to death than shot to death. Yet the sentences are the different end of the spectrum. It's a joke and the criminal justice system is broken and I'm ashamed of it. I thought in my retirement I could look to the police and the criminal justice system to protect me, something I spent the whole of my life doing. Almost lost it twice. I'm ashamed at what police has become, but I understand the difficulties they face. And it's a woeful day in Britain for our criminal justice system. And sadly, nobody's got a grip. Police chiefs will promise you day in and day out how they will change. How did it get that bad? The PR within policing is disgraceful. Why can't they come out, admit their wrongs, but then fight back and say, I have got men and women getting up every day of the week that risk their lives. They care about victims. They want to make the streets safe. But the criminal justice system has put the handcuffs and shackles off of the criminal onto the police service.
Norman,
and it's a shameful...
Norman, I have to tell you, and I've got to move on, thank you, because I could not agree more.